Okay, so as one of the main topics we often talk about is how much does it cost to live in Paris on a monthly basis. Clearly, one of the costs, one of the main costs is the grocery shopping. So all the food and all the home items that we need in our daily life. So as I just went to the grocery store, I thought that it could be interesting to show you what I purchased in order to help you understand how many things you can actually purchase in a Parisian supermarket with a certain amount of euros. Now, usually what I tend to do is to go to the supermarket more often during the week and purchase less. First of all, because I have to bring all the items home by foot, so I'm just limited on the amount of things that I can actually carry. And also because the building I live in doesn't have the elevator, so I also have to consider stairs. But also, actually, the most important thing, because the fridge is super small. So, of course, this is normal in cities like Paris where the apartments are very small. Also, the furniture is very small. And so, in my case, I have a super small fridge, meaning that I cannot fit too many things at once. And that's the reason why I tend to purchase less but more often, so that I can fit things, but also because that way I don't risk things to go rotten before I had time to actually eat them. So usually on a normal basis, I tend to spend 20 to 25 euros when I go to the grocery store. But this time around, I actually had to purchase a lot of things because the fridge was pretty much empty. So this time around, it was a more consistent grocery store run because I ended up paying 78 euros 79. So I don't know if you can see, but this is like the ticket. So yeah, this time around it was an 80 euros grocery store run, and that's also the reason why I thought that it could be interesting to show you how many things and what kind of things that you can buy in Paris for 80 euros. Now, keep in mind that the food that I purchased, so because there are some things which are more like staple items to have in the pantry, but for the fresh food, basically, this is going to last me about 1 week, 10 days in terms of lunches and dinners, because on a normal basis, I always have dinner at home. Of course, it happens that during the week, maybe I just have a drink with friends or a drink with colleagues, and then in that situation, you eat something. And so, in that specific case, I'm of course eating outside or during the weekend. But on a normal basis, I have dinner at home. And for lunchtime, if I'm working from home, of course, I cook my own lunch. But also, actually, if I go to the office, I tend to bring my own food from home. First of all, because almost always I have leftovers from dinner, and so I bring them as the next day lunch. Or, by the way, because eating outside in Paris, it's pretty expensive. So, for example, even a salad or a poke bowl, it's not going to be less than 12, 15 euros. And spending 12, 15 euros every day to have lunch at the end of the month, it's starting to be an important amount of money. So yeah, I tend to bring lunch from home. Of course, there are days where I forget to bring it, or I didn't have dinner at home, and so I don't have the leftovers to bring. And in that case, I am going to have lunch outside. But yeah, on a normal basis, these should cover lunches and dinners for a week, 7 days, considering here and there some days where I don't eat at all. So without further ado, let's get into this grocery store haul to see what did I purchase with 80 euros. Starting from salad, which is like a staple in my fridge, most of all when I work from home and I don't have a lot of time. I just put together a salad and I'm good to go. And then we have tea. Oh, of course, nothing you will see in this video is sponsored. I'm just really showing you what I normally purchase at the supermarket. And when it's up to tea, like I try different tea brands, but I always go back to Twinings. It's my favorite, most of all the Earl Grey. Sometimes if I feel a little fancy, I take the lemon scent, which is also nice. But yeah, if not, it's always the Earl Grey. And then I have dish detergent because I don't have the dishwasher, so I wash the dishes with my hands. And then we have chocolate. I always have to have chocolate at home. I'm a massive chocolate lover, so I don't know, sometimes just a piece in the afternoon, in the morning, I don't know. It just makes everything better. And then we have an avocado, which with the salad on a slice of bread, it's always a must. Actually, avocados, I don't always buy them because the supermarket doesn't always have the ripe avocados, and I don't really like to purchase it and then wait like 2 weeks before it's ready to be eaten. So actually, yeah, I purchase it only if I see that they have a good, completely black avocado ready to be eaten. And then we have, oh, here, tomatoes. So we have an amount of tomatoes, which now are also on my phone. and they were about, oh, one thing about France that I discovered is that because I was used in Italy, that when you are at the supermarket, you have to weigh your own fruits and vegetables, and then you have the label, and then you bring it to the cashier. But in France, apart from the automatic checkout, so if you have to do the checkout on your own, then in that case you have to weigh fruits and vegetables and you have the label. But this time around, as I had many things, I did my checkout with the cashier, and actually they do have the scale integrated in the cash system, meaning that you don't have to just like weigh them and have the label. They do everything for you. And so that's the reason why in this case I don't have the labels, but we can actually take a look at the ticket to see how much the tomatoes were. Tomatoes, they were €2.39, and it's half a kilo of tomatoes. So yeah, that's and still tomatoes you can like put them wherever, in the salad, in the pasta. And then we have, oh, a staple in my pantry, like chickpeas, peas, and lentils. Like I always have to have them. They are my lifesaver. Again, with the pasta, with rice, it's super quick, super easy, and they are amazing. So always with them. Then oil. I have to say that, so when I can, I have oil shipped from Italy, but I actually did it just twice because it's not super cheap. When I fancy some nice oil as a dressing, there are a lot of French oil brands which are amazing and I love them, and I tried a few of them, but I have to say that at the present moment, oil is super expensive. So if I have to use oil just to cook, like on average to cook things in the pan, I tend to purchase the normal like supermarket oil, which is fine. It's good. This one actually is good. So yeah, it depends on the kind of usage. So if it's for dressing, I have smaller bottles of oils, which is a more fancy oil that I use as a dressing because like the taste is completely different, of course, and it changes a lot. But if it's for cooking, the normal like average supermarket oil is fine. And then we have rice. It's super quick and you can just eat rice with so many different things. I always tend to purchase normal rice. Like this one is like the most similar one to the kind of rice I was used to when I lived in Italy, because one of the first things I had to get used to when I moved to Paris was to get used to the different products they have in the supermarkets here compared to the products I was used to in Italy. So with rice it was kind of tricky to find the one that actually was the one I was used to, but then I ended up finding this one, which is in pretty much every supermarket here in France, and it's absolutely normal, and in 10 minutes you're good to go. I also love basmati rice, so I also have that on a like normal basis. So sometimes I have normal rice and sometimes I have basmati rice, but yeah, this one is way quicker. So if I don't have enough time to properly cook the basmati one, then I go with the normal rice. And then we have zucchini. Actually this one again, zucchini are pretty expensive as of now. So they were €5, €5.89, but they are three. Like they are three. €5.89 is a lot for 3 zucchini, isn't it? I think it is. Oh wow. Well, and this is because I didn't weigh them because the cashier did. So I didn't see the label with the price on it, and I'm discovering just now. So great. I think this means that I will have to cook a very fancy dinner with this zucchini because pretty expensive. And then we have aubergines, which I have a feeling may be the same problem. €4 for 2 aubergines. So, I don't know if you can see, but they are 2. Oh, everything. Okay, it doesn't matter. They are 2 aubergines, €4.06. Yeah. Okay, I think that I should really do a comparison and go to the food market and purchase them at the food market. First of all, of course, the quality is way better. But actually, when I go to the grocery store, as I'm already there, I tend to purchase everything there. But I should actually probably switch and purchase vegetables, fruits and vegetables to the food market because the quality is better and I think that the price is lower. So I will try to do that, and then I will report back and let you know if actually it's cheaper and way better in terms of quality. And then we have carrots. Carrots also are a staple in my fridge, also because they last super long and you can eat them in so many different ways. And also this is a big box of carrots because it's 1.5 kilos. So they are a lot and they last super long, so they are always good to have. And then I have tuna. So yeah, again, they don't have a huge selection of tuna in this supermarket, but again, this is, as it's one of the neighborhood supermarket and it's a normal supermarket. Because I can remember if I told you in the beginning, but all the things I bought, it was a normal supermarket. So it was not one of those bio supermarket where things are actually a bit more expensive. This is a normal supermarket, like one of the chains that they have all over the city. And as it's the neighborhood one, it's pretty small, so it's not one of those big ones that you have just outside the city. So the selection of products that they have is quite tight compared to the big supermarkets. And for the tuna, they actually don't have a big selection. But yeah, and this is, I think, the main brand in France for tuna. And then I have coffee. So when I moved to Paris, as by the way, I was every day in the office, most of all in the beginning, I tend to drink coffee in the office because they have the coffee machine. And now that we are more flexible with working from home sometimes, I actually prefer to have some latte or hot tea in the morning. And so I prefer to purchase instant coffee because then I can mix it with some hot water or with some milk, and I have my latte. So that's it. And here we have milk. So for milk, I tend to purchase always oat milk, and I take the small one, first of all, because in the fridge, the big one doesn't fit, but also because the big one would go rotten before I had time to actually finish it. So I prefer to purchase the small one so that I'm sure that I am going to finish once I open it. And then we have rice cakes. And yes, we can all agree that rice cakes are like, yeah, that kind of thing that you have in your pantry, but it doesn't really have a taste. But I found out that they are very helpful for me because when I come home from work and I have to cook dinner, if I am starving, I'm starving. Like, I am not patient enough to wait dinner to be ready to eat. And so while I'm cooking, I have to have something that I can just like a snack that I can eat while I'm cooking. And these one are perfect actually because they allow me to have a snack, but not enough to fill me up instead of dinner. So they are my perfect while cooking snack. And then here we have, ooh, I broke it. Bananas. I always have bananas in the kitchen, not only as a breakfast, but also because I really like to have oatmeal sometimes in the morning. And so a little bit of oats, hot water, milk, and a smashed banana, I love that. It's like my comfort food. Also with a piece of chocolate on top. It's amazing. It's like, I love it. Most of all, now that it's fall is approaching. Yeah, it's lovely. And then I have crackers. Now, I'm a big crackers fan. I always had crackers in my life. I always have a cracker little pack in my bag. I had it in my car in Italy. I had them in the office. So I always have to have them. And I have to tell you, when I moved to France, it was so hard to find them because apparently in France, they are not a thing, or at least they're not a thing as much as they are in Italy. In Italy, in the supermarket, we have full aisles of crackers, but in France, no. And the first time I went to the supermarket, I became crazy to find crackers. So I don't know if it's actually not a thing in France, but apparently it's not. But yeah, this is the only crackers brand that I've ever found in every supermarket. So if anybody knows if there are other brands, just let me know. But this is the only one I always like, the only one they have. But luckily, it's very good. So we're good to go because it's perfect. And then, last but not least, pasta. My love, my DNA. One thing I cannot stay without, pasta, of course. I'm Italian, I have to have pasta. So this is the only thing I will never compromise on. For pasta, I have to purchase Italian pasta. So in the big supermarkets outside of Paris, there is a wider selection of pasta, so you can find more Italian brands. But in this one, which is small, the only Italian brand they have is Barilla, and the other ones are French brands for pasta. So for me, it's always going to be Barilla. Also because having the Barilla box in my pantry makes me feel closer to home. So yeah, this is like a staple, of course. So This is all. So this was everything I purchased for 80 euros at the supermarket. I have to say that as of now, I got pretty much used to this kind of prices in Paris. And I have to say that before moving to Paris, I was living in Milan and the price of the items is pretty much the same. Like this is the same amount I would have spent in Italy for the same kind of things. But I'm super curious to know if you're in Paris, if you're in France, or if you are in any other country, what's the average price for a grocery haul similar to this one? Again, this is a consistent one, so this is not the average grocery shopping that I do on a weekly basis. Absolutely not. This was a bigger one. But yeah, so this time around I had some other things that I needed to purchase. Of course, as always, it depends on everybody's preferences, on what you're used to. If you prefer to spend more on grocery, if you prefer to spend more to eat outside, of course, it depends and it's up to each one of us. So yeah, but I thought it could be useful to show you what you can actually purchase with 80 euros in a supermarket, in a normal supermarket in Paris. So yeah, I hope this video was helpful for you. And if you have any question, or as we said, if you want to exchange on your experiences with grocery shopping, either in Paris, either in other cities, just let me know in the comments or send me a DM on Instagram, and see you in the next video.